That's how it goes. Millions of people living.
I forgot the song. Sorry, guys.
Shit happen.
Crazy Train.
Yes, Ozzy. Randy Rhoads,
Yeah, I
right?
remember when he used to be Devil's Music. Remember that?
Yes. Burn your records.
Because your preacher used to tell you he's evil. And then they started to play it in the stadiums, along with Metallica.
Yeah, right.
And I used to think it was the funniest thing. It's like, wait a minute, I thought that was like Satan's music. They're playing it at a baseball game now, along with the national.
Gonna burn. Yeah.
But you have to admit, it's a great song, right?
Absolutely.
See, that's
absolutely.
Music overcomes everything. It brings everyone together.
It does. It does.
Even Slayer. And I know that there are tons of Slayer fans out there, closet Slayer fans.
Lots of Slayer fans,
right?
With IoT Coffee Talk. You're right.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right.
We're all about rock and roll. Yeah,
absolutely.
How's it going, Marc? We haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, busy, but good. How is it going your side?
So have you guys managed to find all those components? Have they become a little bit more available? No more semiconductor shortage?
No, it's everything. It's like last time we spoke, I guess, at least on my side, helping distribution guys to find the components from other brands. Maybe they need to redesign hardware, but that's fun.
That is pretty crazy. I hear about a lot of redesigns happening, and but I guess it just really surprises me that this it creeped up on everybody like this at this kind of scale. You know, there's some other structural issue that we're dealing with here, or just massive planning disconnect. But anyways, hey, good to have you back. And it looks like Rob is driving, and you should focus on driving. Keep your eyes on the road, sir. Yeah.
Eyes are on the road. Luckily, I saved 10 billion 486 chips, so we're going to be okay.
Oh, good. Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah.
No autopilot on this car?
Yeah, that's why he's like turning the wheel so much.
Yes.
What do you think about autopilot? Did you try the autopilot thing?
Oh yeah, I have autopilot.
You have a Tesla car, and how's it going?
Tesla.
What's experience on being driven by an AI?
It's non-existent because I don't use autopilot. I've tried it a few times, and I just fundamentally don't trust it, just because the few times that I have used it in a pretty controlled environment, meaning relatively light traffic, meaning I might be going 70 miles per hour down, or 65. Let me reverse that. Take that back. 65, the legal speed limit. Always. Okay.
Always.
And there's no cars behind me. The thing will just sometimes just brake by itself or reduce its speed and jerk the car. And ever since that happened a few times, I said, screw this shit. I don't trust it. And then the other thing that people need to be aware of, and I jokingly say these cars need eyelashes and eyelids, is not a joke. It's actually really friggin' serious. On occasion, you'll get dirt or a bug on the lens of the camera, and then the car can't see. And so, you know how I feel
it's called a bug, right?
Vehicles. I think it's just a complete waste of time. In most instances, okay, not the way that we talk about autonomous vehicles. I think is a waste of time. People are gonna. What else are you gonna do? Stuck on the road for 6 hours on a long trip. Driving's not all that boring. It's kind of fun. Occasionally you want to hand the wheel over to somebody, and I jokingly say to people, try to wrestle a steering wheel out of a German. You'll never do it. That German guy or gal will take your head off. They said no. I like driving.
They'll say 9.
They'll say 9. Yeah.
9.
There's this huge cultural element to driving where I think, autonomous systems need to address specific issues.
But yeah, highways in Germany are kind of different than roads in the US. I remember driving in Nevada or in Utah, where you have these long roads where nothing happens in miles or kilometers. Here in Europe, so all the highways are winding roads, kind of. Compared with the US.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't care to have autopilot on those roads and just take pictures of of the desert or whatever, or the mountains in the US. And I remember that my legs were hurting after 4 hours, like pressing the pedal. I was driving with the fingers on the car that I rent.
Oh, okay. I you know what? You're hitting on a very important point. The problems are different in every country. You can't generalize the solution, and that's why when we talk about autonomous vehicles and the value case for autonomy, it needs to be look at the specific problems in a region. And like in Asia, there's an opportunity, and then there's things that work against the idea of autonomy. And primarily that's because there's high population density, so people can just walk everywhere. I mean, who wants to sit home all the time? I don't get that. Do you know what I'm saying? And who wants to be chauffeured around all the time? Those are things that just take humanity out of living. So anyways, is this what we're going to talk about? We're pretty far into this session. Are we going to be talking?
We are not driving, Leonard. It's someone else is driving today.
Exactly. Yes. So I'm driving through Houston, Texas right now.
Oh, really?
The energy capital of the world.
Yes.
How is the thing of traveling in 2021?
Home to all of your favorite oil companies. They're all here.
I don't think he heard you.
Yes.
I hear you. What'd you say?
No, I said, how's this experience of traveling in 2021?
How's the experience?
It feels great.
Oh.
It feels great. I like traveling. I flew in a plane. I didn't die.
Yeah.
I got vaccinated, so I felt okay being on the plane. I mean, everybody's still wearing masks on the plane.
Good.
But yeah, I guess I wasn't too worried about it, to be honest with you.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, totally. Feels good to be back out, just hitting it,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe we'll be going to conferences and meeting up again soon. That's really nice.
I heard on the radio that Chicago this summer is going to bring back Lollapalooza.
Really?
And Foo Fighters are headlining.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess we're going to be meeting up in Chicago.
Yes, that's what it means. Yes.
Wow. Great. Well,
I'm so down with that.
Houston's a great city.
If you cannot take a flight on autopilot, how long it takes? Like in 12 hours you are there, or in 18 hours?
What?
Autopilot.
Driving?
Yes. No, Chicago, Seattle. No, you're in California, right? Wow, no, that's too far away then.
Now, you know what? Speaking about autopilot, I did use a little bit of that last week or whatever. So I picked my daughter up from college. She said, ASU, Arizona State University, in Tempe, in the Phoenix area. And I drove her back to Seattle. We went through California. We did go to Joshua Tree. We went out to Santa Monica and, try to get Leonard to come up there. That was too much to ask. I totally get it. Drove through Oregon. It was beautiful. But my Volvo XC60 does have a pilot assist. It's not what the Tesla has, but it's helpful. It's also, using cameras and sensors and everything. It's kind of funny, I think they don't want you to fall asleep while you're using that. Yeah. And so it bugs you. It gives you little warnings after a little while. It's like, please put your hand on the steering wheel. Please, you know, it didn't really need me to adjust the steering wheel, but it doesn't want me to just totally be like, I'm sound asleep driving.
Yeah.
Anyway, I used that. My daughter used it, especially, you know, when you're just driving I-5 from SoCal all the way to Seattle, it's just straight, you know?
Yeah.
So it was easy.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. And the important thing making that drive is you want to stay in your lane.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And it's boring ass drive. Done it many times.
It is.
Yeah.
It is boring. I did. It was a beautiful day though, driving by Mount Shasta. It was gorgeous.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I remember that on my way up. Yeah. So I guess we're talking about autonomous, right? And IoT, actually autonomous vehicles. You know, it's weird that that topic is, I know that we talk a lot about it, but for some reason this week, I've been talking a lot about connected cars and autonomous vehicles and stuff. So
what's new on connected cars?
Oh, I don't know. I think the new thing in just the whole, my feeling is this, the vibe I get is this, as everyone is kind of backing away from autonomous vehicles because they're realizing, number one, this shit is really hard. Number two, well, you know, all these benefits that they talk about, safety, blah, 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 none of them can really be realized in a significant way until these autonomous vehicles are adopted at scale and also have the supporting infrastructure. And that's going to take a hell of a long time. And a lot of investment. So the question is, who's going to pay for it? And it even boils down to connected cars. So there's ADAS systems. And, you know, it's funny. Here's the ironic thing. People talk about autonomous vehicles and in the same breath talk about these wacky new driver cockpit stuff like, oh, wow, look, we have a screen that goes all the way across the dashboard. And it's like, wait a minute. So you have autonomous vehicle. Why would you want, do you really need a, you know, really fancy, snazzy cockpit display? You know,
like a huge iPad.
You know, wouldn't you be able to simplify everything down to like literally? Well, you don't have a steering wheel. Maybe just like what Tesla does. You just have maybe even something smaller than what Tesla does, because the car doesn't have anything to say to you, and you have a voice system, a VPA, and there a virtual personal assistant, or whatever the hell you want to call it, conversational AI thingy-majigger that asks you where the hell you want to go, dude. You know. But the thing is, these visionary concepts, just like, you know, these, what are the smart speaker things, when you think through everything and you have people actually use it, it just doesn't make sense. People just friggin' like to drive. I don't know how you overcome that. Do you know what I'm saying? And so while there are these really wonderful visions of how autonomous vehicles are going to do green this and, you know, save this and that, when you really analyze this idea, okay, I think it loses its you know, viability pretty quickly if you just, you know, do some, you know, some simple scenario play on, okay, well, and then ask yourself, who the hell is going to pay for all this stuff? I don't know.
Yeah,
pay for it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's weird. It's the same problem that IoT has. We hear it over and over again, right? All these great ideas about you connecting all kinds of crap, and it's going to generate trillions of dollars, and then it's like, well, what's happening? Is everyone's going, okay, where's all the easy money everyone was talking about? And it's easy.
Show me the money.
Show me the money, baby.
And then on the other hand, on the car industry, it's crazy that so engineers start to design a car like 5 years before it reaches into the market. So technology is 5 years old.
Yeah,
like it's incredible how the speed of manufacturing a car, and then that car maybe stays for 10 years into the market, but with technology like
right.
with whole technology. So
yeah. And then everyone talks about software this, software that, and software. But it's like, look, well, you still. But the problem is the software advances so quickly, and so does the hardware. No, software isn't the only thing that matters, and it doesn't change everything. Hardware still friggin' matters. So these guys going around talking about, well, you just have to software define it. You have to you can virtualize it, and you can, cloud native it, right? It's like to a certain extent.
Maybe if we put the software in a lot of little containers, that'll change everything.
Virtualization. Hey, that's new.
Virtualize and then make it even smaller into little atoms of software.
You need
separate from each other.
Before you go to autonomous vehicles, you need to go to V vehicles, virtualized vehicles with a digital twin. Dude.
Yeah. On a blockchain.
I feel like the dude.
Blockchain. and you pay for it in Bitcoin.
Yes. Oh my God.
Or at least you claim to, and then you ditch it.
Well, now it's very, the energy consumption get reduced, right? Because a lot of miners in China stop mining Bitcoins. That's the like the neutral carbon Bitcoin that Elon Musk wanted, or.
Yeah, I was not happy looking at my Coinbase app yesterday. Like,
that's got to be fun.
Boy, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin,
Dogecoin, Doggy Coin.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know, man.
All right, I'm gonna have to leave you now.
You're gonna leave us?
I'm gonna leave you
in your non-autonomous vehicle.
No, I'm not. I'm in a rental car. It's a Toyota Highlander. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hey, you know what? In Texas, they won't let you rent a car that's not an SUV and a gas guzzler. So
I applaud that.
Right
I actually wanted an SUV because there were like lots of flooding and thunderstorms going on over the last few days, and so I wanted.
You'll need it. Yeah. You need it. Okay.
It was either that or get a pickup truck, right?
Yeah. Those are your only options.
Cybertruck or the new Ford F-150 Lightning.
Oh yeah, that thing looks pretty cool.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it just needs to be autonomous.
The F-150 is the best-selling vehicle in the history of cars or trucks.
Yeah,
and so maybe they will continue their tradition with an electric one. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. Go Ford. Good for Ford.
All right. Well, have a great day, man.
I'll do it. It's great seeing you guys.
Sell a lot of IoT.
Adios. Yes. I'm going to bring IoT to the Mexican restaurant right now.
Oh, really?
Bye.
See you, man. So it's just the two of us now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So well, talking about cryptos today, I was having a long chat about this crypto IoT project. I don't know if you know about Helium.
No, I know about. Yeah, I wouldn't call it necessarily. Do you call it a crypto? It's not a. It's here's the thing about blockchain and blockchain type applications. The blockchain is just a technology. You still have to build the application and make it work. And so I've talked to countless crypto and blockchain companies, man. I'm just sick and tired of telling them, look, dude, what do you do? And then they'll tell me what they do. And I say, you know how many people have tried to do it? And oh, by the way, you don't really need blockchain is not the answer. It's always business model and governance. So ecosystem governance. And then how do you actually build it? That's the problem. And they don't understand that because they're techno people who just, they read these white papers and all this literal, I don't even feel bad saying bullshit. This is Kool-Aid, man. it's written by people that don't know what they're talking about. They go and they sit there and maybe smoke some pot, drink some wine at a local, local cafe in Barcelona after Mobile World Congress or IoT World Congress or Blockchain World Congress or where, you guys have all kinds of congresses there. And they come up with this idea that sounds great, but the thing is that they think it's new or it's a new approach, and they think that the technology can solve it. No, it doesn't. That's why there are thousands of these ideas. None of them have gone anywhere. And so taking one little example and saying that that's a success is just so ridiculous.
Yeah. What's a vector for having a success project? That's something that I have been asking to a lot of founders of startups. Like, hey, so you success on your previous startup.
Yeah.
Are you sure that you would be able to repeat it on a second one? No, or you just succeed because you were at the right time, at the right moment, with the right people. And
you know what it boils down to? A blockchain is you need to be able to acquire scale very quickly. And so if you look at Bitcoin, think about how it started off. Fundamentally, it started off as a way of making illicit transactions, whether and it still is today. So let's not be delusional. What it's done is morphed into this Ponzi scheme at scale, as I call it. And I have still yet anyone to really be able to push back on that. Some people have said, well, it's like this and that. It's like, no. Here, it's money in, money out. If you go and you read the description of the basic description of Bitcoin, you will understand that its mechanics are basically it's a digital platform for Ponzi schemes. There's no real value in a Bitcoin other than what I've written about a long time ago, which is it's a functional asset, and its function is that you can basically do evil shit with it.
Well, yes and not. So then if you use that argument, you can say that the banks are as well as a Ponzi scheme. Right?
No, you can't. No. You cannot, because banks lend out. They do something called risk management. No, and that's a false equivalency. And it's also, and I don't want to sound like I'm some old school guy that's not open to new ideas. No, I am. I'm totally. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I was totally, stuck to the past. What I will argue vehemently against is just stuff that's not true, and opinings of people who don't have experience. I worked in financial sector. I consulted finance. Actually, my undergrad, I helped design the Kospi 200 stock futures index. Okay. So I understand this stuff. I worked in the financial services industry, and it's not like I'm totally ignorant of this stuff, right? And so I know what other folks don't know just simply by what they're writing, and it's typical that people who know maybe the legacy domain don't understand the technology, and the technology people don't understand the domain. They go, oh, fintech, what's new? And then they use these. They very easily subscribe to false equivalencies, and just and sometimes flat out just fake stuff. And I think that's one of the challenges with even things with like helium. I honestly, it sounds good, but my question to them is, how are you going to scale this thing out? Because the
thing of scaling,
who the hell's going to pay for this?
They just sold 500,000 of hotspots, of gateways. So for a crowdsourced network, that's a record. So actually, the Things network have 50,000 gateways, and they sold already. But yeah, there is this chip shortage, so they're struggling with the delivery. But yeah, they sold 500,000 of gateways, LoRaWAN gateways. And the sector is super hot right now because of that. Then I was having this discussion so I think it's the project is really good. I mean, there is the Things Network, there is Sigfox, there are other companies that try to do exactly the same, and they didn't scale on the business side. No, for example, Sigfox created this worldwide coverage, similar maybe, or I think Helium can be bigger about worldwide coverage, and can be a bit cheaper. But the thing is that, it's a chicken problem, right? So sometimes you want to have deploy a project and there is no coverage. Now, at the beginning, when I was working on Sigfox projects, there were not enough coverage. But on the other hand, there will be tons of coverage, but no project. So how to balance that? It's
on
a scalability. I'm super surprised that they sold tons of hotspots.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is we just have to see if it works, and it can technically scale as well, right?
No, technically speaking, it's nothing new, so it's not innovative. It's like it's like a clone of the Things Network or a clone of Sigfox. No difference. The only difference is, it's everything open source, and they reward the people who provide coverage. And the blockchain reward with a token for a proof of coverage that needs to get into a specific threshold. It's super simple, super clear. Everything is open source. And but the problem is that 95% of people who are providing coverage are like crypto freaks that don't have any clue about LoRa. And probably if the price of the token doesn't give them enough rewards or whatever, they're
going to dump
the gateway, right?
But see, that might be the smart thing, and maybe that's the nice thing about hype. I bash hype all the time, but the good thing about hype is that it in and of itself funds things that might fund things that are good and give them that initial seed money to make that solution truly viable versus grabbing a buzzword like blockchain and then hoping that whatever it is that you're taking to market actually works or is something that is sensible. But that can scale and grow and be something that people can write about, instead, but in terms of a success rather than something that was wasted everyone's money.
But actually, this is giving me like a lot of food for thinking on new business models. Like, let's imagine, right, like a big corporation with tons of warehouses all around the world.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So if they introduce hotspots, these helium hotspots in all the warehouses, so they get tokens for that. So they can sensorize all these warehouses, everything, and maybe they make money. Mm-hmm. So it changes completely the paradigm of the IoT business models because, or even, for example, you can go to McDonald's and tell them, hey, I will put this machine on every McDonald's all around the world, and I pay you X, I don't know, $100 per month, and I give you all the data from your kitchen for free. Well, no, I pay you $100 per month. I mean, that changes completely free hardware. I pay you money to sensorize, your kitchens. I mean, that's a new paradigm on business models for IoT. I mean, I was thinking like, wow, maybe this can be one of the vectors to accelerate the IoT adoption. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to try to skin a cat. There's probably only a few ways that you really skin a cat, right? They always say there's a million ways to skin a cat. No, there's probably depends on what you're trying to do with the skinned cat. I'll have to be honest. I haven't really done a ton of research into it. Okay. It's
no
just,
worries.
Maybe I'm shooting from the hip and jumping the gun here, but, I've just seen a lot of ideas like that just like fall flat and go nowhere. And I do realize it's not like I don't know why. I listen, I talk to the leaders of the companies or whoever the thought leader is in the organization. And I just go, okay, well, you're missing this, you didn't answer this, and this. And okay, well, you could do this stuff without blockchain. I don't even know why you need it to solve this problem, so I don't know. Everyone's trying to run with blockchain, trying to create blockchain applications without first looking at the problem and what needs to be solved. They're just taking these, I would say, fanciful concepts, thinking that it's simple, everyone's going to buy into it, and then they find out that it has no wings, So you have to really, it's like what I was saying before. The blockchain applications are going to be something that are going to be, they're going to solve a problem at a large scale and multi-party, right? Multi-parties that may not necessarily trust each other. And the thing is that getting mind share, the governance pieces, those are all absolutely important. So as you're going forward with these IoT blockchain solutions, that's what you have to be mindful of. Because, the largest one that I am aware of that gets a lot of press is IBM's TradeLens. And look at how long it's taking them to... TradeLens, they're basically creating it's a logistics and transport exchange. Okay.
So it's more smart contracts?
Yeah, smart contracts, and they're using blockchain to to basically intermediate a lot of the current, fragmented and functions that are owned by, somehow they're getting some 3PLs and freight forwarders on board with this thing, but it's a disintermediation play in effect. And, they're making some progress. They're getting some ports and carriers on board. And like I said, some 3PLs. But, it's been a slog. And I'm sure that the team at IBM is going, well, this is not quite what we expected. We thought this was going to be easy, right? And it may even be the case that you didn't even need blockchain.
But I'm going to introduce another topic into the
wow. This is good. Just for the two of us, this is going on for a long time, and the audience is probably going, "What the hell were these guys? They were talking about autonomous, and now they're talking about blockchain."
Exactly.
Where's that Rick guy that talks crap all the time, telling these guys that they're full of crap?
Is it now like formal that we didn't prepare this episode at all? No. What I wanted to mention this is really interesting, but sometimes what I see as a success point, it's like most of the technologies that are now succeeding or having like a lot of traction on community, they are open source. And there is no lock-in to run them. So now you're talking about this IBM technology that I don't know, so I don't have any clue, and maybe again, like you said before, maybe I will say something completely wrong, but
that's okay.
I'm not sure if this is open source and you can run it wherever you want, for example, or you are forced to be logged into IBM, for example.
No, so it goes back to governance. The whole idea is that IBM doesn't necessarily they run the infrastructure and provide the service. They propose, and I could, any of the IBMers who are actually on the team, you correct me if I'm wrong, but the exchange is,
if you're listening, leave a comment.
they're hosting the exchange, right?
Okay.
And so the actual functions, they're not necessarily monetizing that. You know, if you did that, then nobody's going to play, right? Exactly. And again, so as you start to design these applications, you have to think through all these things very practically, and then figure out what sort of carrots you give to the people that you want to bring to the table. But the problem with that is, I think at the end of the day, what you find is that what's left over for you is not what you thought it was. You know, so this huge, you know, a lot of times the argument is, even with Bitcoin, is we're disintermediating the banks. We're getting rid of the middlemen. No, you're not. You're giving money to the miners. You're giving the money to the exchange guys. They're taking a percentage, right? It's absolutely not true. And the same goes. And the thing is that they're saying that it'll bring the cost down of everything. Yeah, you might be, but what's left over for you, your cut, more often than not, is a lot smaller than what you sold to the investment banker who is now going on a roadshow, trying to get you guys IPO'd, or your ICO, the bullshit that you stick in your ICO. You say you're going to make X billions of dollars and you only make what, 10 million bucks or something like that. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, seriously, there's some people who talk a really great game. And then you realize as you speak with them, there's disconnects in their awareness of some of the domains they need to consider. And then you start to see the pattern where things are going to, you can kind of see the dynamic of how things will fall apart. But you can help people. You can help them adjust. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and say, we're going to become a unicorn. You can say, well, we will make a certain decent amount of money. Right. Yeah. And we're going to be reasonable about it. And if we become a unicorn, that's a pleasant surprise. But instead, what we do is everyone is trying to fund and chase unicorns, you know, and what do these unicorns end up being? They lose money like crazy. And they're actually tremendously bad examples of capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. So when you see a funding round on the newspaper, that means that, it's a company that needs money from investors to survive. Yeah. Yeah,
and the whole point of investing should be that you invest for a return on your investment, ROI.
Exactly. If they invest money, it's because they think that they will get at least 10 times what they invest on your company.
Right. And then there's a thing called due diligence. Is you have to go and everyone has to do their due diligence. Does this opportunity make sense? Does this business plan make sense? And does this valuation make sense? Because I don't think we hold people accountable when, whether it's an investment bank or VC, they come out with these ridiculous numbers. Do we hold them accountable for being ridiculously wrong? In many instances, so
and even when you see these, and even when you see these acquisitions of companies, for tons of millions or whatever, sometimes the founders don't see any penny, because on the how is it called, with the contract with investors, the shareholder agreement, maybe you are the last to get money, and if they don't get 2, 3, 5, 10 times what they invested, so they get that money first, and they split the rest of the money. But if there is no rest of the money, the founder sees zero.
So
it's like, wow, this guy sold his company, but he's completely broke. So that's as well interesting to, nobody tells that, but that's the story of the startup founders as well.
It's brutal, right? I mean, it's just like in the music industry, the artists, everyone goes, oh, hey, that rapper, wow, they had the MTV cribs, right? Everyone thinks, oh man, look at that guy's house. It's like huge. They don't realize that that's not their house, you know, in a lot of instances, you know, they have to make good on their contracts, you know.
Exactly.
The studios cut them huge checks, you know, they pay for the studio time, the tours and all that stuff. These guys don't make their if they don't make a return, that house, you know, they take it away,
return of investment.
and they go and say they sell it to recoup their investments.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
The artist is out in the cold. I mean, that happens all the time, you know, and that's why you always hear about the artists complaining about, oh, we don't really, you know, there's a small number of artists that make ridiculous money, right, through royalties but the ones who make the most money are the ones who have the big concert, or, you know, the live music tours, because that's where 90% of the revenue comes in. Forget about the streaming crap and, you know, a number of records sold. That's like low margin stuff. They make their dinero off of live music, you know.
Yeah,
and there's how many acts do you know that will draw more than 5,000 people, you know, at what, $100, $200 a ticket? So it's just weird, man. The world is weird in the way that it works. It never works the way that we think it works.
Yeah, no, and now we discover that the world is really bad design, no, chip shortage, logistic routes completely destroyed, no, a virus that stops the wall. What else could happen?
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway,
so cool, I will not convince you about the helium technology. So I will. No,
I'm gonna look, dude. Honestly, I'll look into it a bit more because you keep talking about it. Maybe I'll even call up the CEO and just get a briefing from them just to see. You know, I did a little bit of reading on it, and I just kind of went, okay. But now that you say that they're getting some traction.
Yeah, they are getting the traction. It's crazy. The problem is the chip shortage. And no, it's really interesting. But yeah, we were having this discussion with a friend of like, okay, so let's imagine that they provide, well, yeah, how the token, no, the cryptocurrency gets money. It's if people start using the data, so start using the network. So people will need to buy data credit, so they will need to burn the token. So the price of the token will keep balance with the usage. But the thing is, it's just a telco, or it's kind of a telco. So if people don't use it, the telco disappears, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and the price of the connectivity, it's just a tiny small part of the whole IoT project. So what's the percentage of connectivity on an IoT project? It's a tiny percentage.
That's the problem,
right?
I know, but you're hitting on the problem. not the problem to be solved, the problem for people who think that this thing is going to be has legs. Do you know what I'm saying? Consensus stuff, trust, you know, you need to talk about big trust issues, not small microtransactional trust issues. So I'll take a look at it. I mean, you know, but you got me thinking, man. That's why I always love talking with our group. You got me thinking. You're just piling on more things to think about on top of the stuff that I have to think about. But it's cool. It's really cool. But, you know, honestly, I think that might be something that for people to think about, not just me, is how big is the trust issue that you're trying to resolve? And, you know, trust is weird. Trust can be negative and positive. It can be criminal and it can be humanitarian. So there, you know, I think we don't get things twisted, right? Like Bitcoin, everyone seems to talk about how it does all this good. There's a very dark back end to all of this stuff and a very dark origin. And I always tell people, who do you think the people are who bought the most Bitcoin at the beginning? And what was their motivation? Because they are the crypto whales, and the rest of us are just crypto plankton. They made the 500,000% return. If you think you're going to make that, you don't know how to do math. You know, they are absolutely billionaires because $1 million of you threw in $100 to make them billionaires, and that's how it works. And they control the market. And if you tell me that's better than a regulated traditional banking system, you have to be, I don't know, man, but that you have to reckon with that fact. It's a fact. It's not even a hypothesis. It's a fact.
Well, it's you could say that it's an hypothesis almost demonstrated, because you cannot say the name and the surname of people who made the first transactions or big.
I don't even know who the friggin' hell made the thing. I got a post
you
of somebody going,
Satoshi, the dude named Satoshi made it.
Here's the problem. Do you have a picture of Satoshi Nakamura or whatever his name is? Do you have a picture of him? They go, well, he's unknown because he's like, no, you don't know, because nobody knows who the friggin' hell he is, or it is, or they are. You know what I'm saying? But then you have people running around. It's like, oh, some Japanese dude created it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, maybe this is the Leonard Lee triggered episode, but this stuff triggers me like crazy, man. I hate you.
I love that. Yeah.
But it's good. I'm running out of coffee. I gotta
but I love to disagree with you. Yeah, today.
No, you're awesome, dude. Yeah, you're actually. I don't know if you're awesome. I think you're being an asshole.
Yeah, you can be also an asshole at the same time sometimes.
No, I love it too. I love it too. But you're triggering me, and I'm probably not doing myself favors in the crypto community. They probably all want to. I
think it's good to have these. So to don't get sold for anyone, for any technology. So it's good to have this critical spirit, right? To understand what's behind everything.
Yeah.
Then discover what it's good from what it's wrong. That's another story. Right. And with that, I'm not saying that Ethereum is good, but I just say that on IoT perspective of my experience that I had from before, it's really interesting. It's growing crazy, and it's interesting. But on the other hand, it's just a tiny part of the cake. Like it's just a connectivity price. I don't know how it will evolve, but I see it like as something really new and really innovative on business models on the IoT.
Hey, there are people that are really, really smart, and they might have figured it. They might have figured it out and have a great plan. So, I mean, can't discount that. And don't get me wrong. I'm not against blockchain. I'm just one thing that I want to take down. I seriously have a chip on my shoulder against are people who misrepresent it and also do harm, because you should not be sitting there shooting your mouth off when you don't know what you're talking about, and there's a lot of people who do that. There's very small number of people who I know who get blockchain, who get crypto. Okay. And they can get it simply by reading the basics. Just go and read what Bitcoin is in Investopedia. There's a couple of keywords that tell you exactly what it is. And if you can't figure that out, you don't know what you're dealing with, because you don't have the background to understand what this thing is. And they will not tell you that it's a scale out Ponzi platform. No, they won't. They're not going to say it, but you see it in the description. It's pretty plain. I mean, I'm sorry. It is. It is.
No, and what I discovered is that in the US, there are a lot of these type of companies like Herbalife and similar.
They do.
These are not very usual in Europe, or at least I'm not aware of them. But there are tons of these type of pyramidal companies in like doing marketing.
Pyramid marketing companies, yeah.
Not Ponzi, no, but like like this type of schemes. There are a lot of companies in the US. I
don't know. I think there's a lot everywhere. I mean, go to Asia. There's like tons of like. I think it's a universal thing. Anyways, so hey, for those of you who managed to make it this far,
if you're right here, leave a comment, please. I was listening to this.
IoTcoffee.com. Like, maybe not share because this one's a really iffy episode.
Maybe you can carry the last
share, like, punch, do all that stuff that all the other YouTube influencers tell you to do, and we'll see you next week. Next week, I think we're going to talk about is there an IoT, right? And hopefully, you can draw Rick back in. But anyways, hey, man, it's fun hanging out with you. We'll see you, okay?
Have a good week.
All right,
cheers. Bye.